Michael, it's
football.
Yeah, it's coming home.
Well, you know what, Luke? I mean, yeah, it does appear to be coming home, in fact. But here's something that I think a lot of people forget. It's kind of a mind-blowing thing. You can, I don't know if you know this, Luke, but you can get to the finals and still lose the World Cup.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy because it's like it would be insane if England was in the final. And yet there would still be, so ignoring, like, obviously it's not a literal matter of probability, but there's still like a 50% chance that they could not win.
Oh yeah, we'll probably play a better team in the final.
Yeah, but it'd be like the most insane thing in the planet for England to be in the final. Like, no one's expecting it. And yet even if they did get into the final, they could, and I don't think I'm mentally prepared for that. I don't think I'm mentally prepared for watching England play in the final, having being one game away from winning, and very, very potentially losing that game. I feel like if they're going to get to the final, I guess what I'm saying is either they don't get to the final or they win the final. I will be the thing that will upset me most is if they get to the final, which I know is kind of unlikely to happen anyway, but yeah, if they get to the final and then lose, that'll be the real thing that bothers me.
Michael, it's okay. Like, if we get to the final, we're definitely going to get there. So when we get to the final, we'll win. Because it's coming home.
And also
the Swedish, the Croatians, whoever gets to the final, the Brazilians, the French. What do they have? They don't have this like meme. They don't have a similar
coming home
coming home meme. You know.
That's true.
Like, it's coming home.
Well, also if we do get second, then we'll get the coefficient. So next time there'll be even more England's playing.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how, because the better you do, the more the coefficient. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that. That's how the coefficient.
After beating Tunisia and Panama, like, that's when England got off the airport. Got off the plane, landed at the airport, and got in a cab to head home. Losing against Belgium, you took a wrong turn, but actually it turned out that it was a shortcut because we're in the easy half of the draw. And now, beating Colombia. Next will be Sweden, then probably Croatia, and then we'll arrive at the front door. I
can't believe Japan nearly beat Belgium, and that would have been really satisfying. It was very upsetting that they didn't.
You know what we need to do, Michael? We need to do a select and reflect on the World Cup.
But apart from that, Luke, should we do the actual thing now?
Yeah.
Back up, chump, Biggie Smalls rips it quick and kicks it quick. You know how black niggas get. With the hoods, fatigues, with the boots, with trees. Flipping trees, making crazy cheese. Hitting buckshots at niggas that open spots on the avenue. Take my loot and I'm bagging. Pimping hoes that drive Volvos and rodeos. Flash the roll, make a wet in they pantyhose. Damn, a nigga style is unorthodox. Grip the clock when I walk down the crowded blocks. Just in case a nigga wanna act out, I just black out and blow the motherfucking back out. That's a real nigga for you.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out relatively recently at the cinema and see if they still hold up upon a second watch. And today we are looking at Ant-Man 1.
It's just Ant-Man.
Subtitle Not With the Wasp.
Yeah.
And I am your co-host Michael, and I'm joined by my host Luke.
Hi guys.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about Ant-Man?
Ant-Man, the coolest superhero who's ever existed. Ant-Man is a 2015 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name. I don't think I'm going to be saying that for a while after this. Scott Lang and Hank Pym are the two Ant-Men. Obviously, Scott Lang is played by Paul Rudd. Hank Pym is played by Michael Douglas. Directed by Peyton Reed. I believe it was directed by somebody else first off, and then they got rid of that director and made it more because they wanted Ant-Man to be more like normal, I guess, not like out there.
Hold on a minute. I feel like I'm kind of impressed that you know that it was directed by someone else, but you don't know who that other person was.
Yeah.
Because we should talk about. Luke, it's funny because we just said there wasn't going to be much to talk about, and there's still not going to be much to talk about. But we should talk about the fact that that someone else was there, because it happens that this someone else was the director of one of your favourite comedies. In fact, your favourite comedy.
Was it Edgar Wright?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think that will be worth talking about because it is relevant. So yeah, Luke, there we go. You've just added something to the thing.
Yeah. So I'll just do the starring. Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Corey Stroll, Bobby Cannavale, Michael Pena, T.I. Harris, what a name, Anthony Mackie, Wood Harris, Judy Greer, David Dasht Malchin, and Michael Douglas. It was released on July the 17th, 2015, so almost 3 years ago. And do you want to have a guess at the budget?
No, I'm good. I feel like this is going to be one of those less than 200 but over 141. So I'm going to go for 165. No, I'm going to go for 145.
Okay, Michael, so these budget things on Wikipedia are getting more and more complicated.
Are they just adding a different category of budget each time you look?
I don't like it. So you had the original budget, now there's gross and net budget. But now for Ant-Man, the gross budget is between 142 and 169 million. And the net budget is 109.3 million. So I don't know
let's go for the one where I'm right.
Yeah.
Because 145, that's definitely...
It's a good guess. I'll say that.
Yeah. I don't think that much. So, to me, I feel like this film was just over 500 million. I don't think this film made as much as Deadpool. So I want to go for exactly 600 million. 519
million.
Oh, see, I was thinking about...
But just take a step back for a second. Imagine, 10 years ago, saying that an Ant-Man movie would make $500 million. From a financial perspective, this is why Disney and Marvel wanted to do the cinematic universe. Just an Ant-Man standalone makes 200 million tops. Because it's in the
They could have marketed it as a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids sequel.
God, 519 million for Ant-Man. Incredible. Did you like this movie then, Michael?
I thought this film was super duper meh.
That's a good description. Obviously, it's a superhero movie, so it works two ways. I thought it was okay as well.
Yeah. In fact, actually, you know what? I really have a feeling. I've just looked, so this might be a bit of a spoiler, but a spoiler for my score. But I feel like it's almost exactly halfway that I've ranked it. Ranked it exactly halfway down the list.
Yeah, it's me of average.
Yes. The epitome of average, as they say.
The epitome.
It's the epitome.
So I guess we got to get into the old plot.
Well, what about all our nitpicks, Luke?
Well, we do that
thousands
upon
thousands of nitpicks. Oh, I forget how this works sometimes, Luke. It's been so long since we did this because football was so busy coming home that we could only fit it in during the period where there's no football coming home.
Yeah, we were just preparing for football's welcome, I guess.
Football's at a layover.
Football's arrival, yeah. Football, we know where football is now, but we don't need to prepare for now, anyway.
Yeah.
So, Ant-Man, the plot. In 1989, scientist Hank Pym resigns from S.H.I.E.L.D. after discovering their attempt to replicate his Ant-Man shrinking technology. Believing the technology is dangerous, Pym vows to hide it as long as he lives. So this plot is rather... I won't say it's complicated, but it's just a bit on the non-simple side. So you got his protege, Darren Cross, Hank Pym's protege, who has created this yellow jacket shrinking formula, which is similar to his Ant-Man formula technology thing, and his daughter works for the company, and Darren Cross thinks his daughter, who's called Hope, has abandoned her dad and now is loyal to him, when in fact she is still loyal to her dad and is like a double agent thingy. Then you have Scott Lang, who is Ant-Man. He gets released from jail, can't get a job or can't hold down a job because he's a criminal, and Hank Pym recruits him to be the next Ant-Man because he wants to sabotage Darren Cross's attempt at creating this technology or selling this technology because he believes it is, as we said before, very dangerous. Scott Lang becomes Ant-Man. He wears this technology. He succeeds in defeating Darren Cross both in getting rid of all his technology and in a massive battle at the end when they go over to his daughter's house for some reason. And he manages to, kill Darren Cross. Just evaporate him into thin air. And while all of this is going on, you've got the side story of the fact that Scott's wife, or ex-wife, has now married a cop, and the cop is trying to track Scott down after Scott robs Hank Pym's house. And that was Hank Pym testing Scott to see if he could be the Ant-Man. So yeah, that is the plot. Like I said, it's not the most simple plot.
That was beautiful.
But you get the idea, and in the end, the good guys win.
You're right. So, Luke, did you have any nitpicks?
I have 2, Michael.
Oh, you said you had 1 earlier.
Well, now I've doubled it.
Okay, well, I've actually... so I think I'm actually going to go for... I think I wrote 1 down, but it actually got disproved. I wrote it down, and then I realised that actually the film answers. So I'm going to go for 5, but I reserve my right to say that actually some of them are crap.
Wow.
Okay, got it.
So, okay, my first one is... I mean, it's a nitpick, but I hate this nitpick. So, what I didn't cover in the plot is the fact that Hank Pym doesn't want his daughter to be the Ant-Man or Ant-Woman or whatever, because of the fact that he lost his wife back in the day, and obviously this mission that he wants to send Scott on is dangerous, so obviously he doesn't want his daughter to do that mission, even though his daughter does want to do that. So what I don't understand is, why does Hank Pym not tell his daughter that her mother died while using the Ant-Man suit? He leaves it. He says that she died in a plane crash, which is not true, obviously, but there's no reason not to tell her the truth. He gives the bullshit excuse of, I was trying to protect you, which makes no sense, because surely then if you tell her, guess what, your mum died using the Ant-Man suit, so I don't want the same to happen to you, then she may, understand why he doesn't want her to use this Ant-Man suit, and therefore, throughout the movie, she's like, you know what, we shouldn't use Scott Lang for this mission, we should use me, he doesn't know what he's doing, I can do this. And then, if he tells her the truth, then she backs up on that. She's like, okay, I understand why he doesn't want me to do this. And it all makes sense. So that's one big nitpick, which I just hate the excuse, and it doesn't even make sense why he'd do it in the first place. It'd actually help the situation if he did tell her.
Yes. You know what, Luke? So, I said that I had 6, but one of them was not true. I thought that was actually the case, but it turns out that I wrote, why has he picked Paul Rudd over her? That was the nitpick I wrote, but then after that I wrote, why didn't he tell her that his wife, why didn't he tell her why he was so basically what I'm saying is that I realized that in fact that's the reason the nitpick was still there, because even though it explains why he picked Paul Rudd over her, it, like you say, leaves far more questions than it answers, because why? Yeah, I mean, it's literally just conflict for conflict's sake, which is dumb.
It is dumb. My second nitpick is at the end of the movie when Scott Lang is fighting Darren Cross, and in his yellow jacket suit, and Scott Lang is in his Ant-Man suit. They're fighting in his daughter's house, his wife's house, whatever. And Louise and his gang stroll up to the house, saying, "We gotta help Scott." And they see all the police and they just back away, and it's a funny moment. But how did they know that they were at their house? So obviously they drive away from Darren Cross's building or whatever when it it blows up, and then they come back to Scott's ex-wife's house. How did they know there was a battle going on there between those two? How did they know that?
Magic.
They didn't. That's why. So that's why it's a
You're
nitpick.
right.
Go on. What's yours?
All right. So this is kind of a weird one, but I felt like the line where Paul Rudd says, "I have a master's in electrical engineering," seemed a bit ham-fisted. It was it's a classic example of someone seemingly narrating a fact about themselves, to the audience.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm smart because I have a master's in electrical engineering. He basically had just got out of jail and said, even though I just got out of jail, I'm actually a genius who has very misunderstood potential.
Just like everybody. Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that there was a bit of animal racism going on, because Pym's daughter, she was really upset that Cross was using a lamb instead of a mouse. And I kind of think to myself, she's really affronted by it. She's like, I thought you said we were going to be using a mouse, you dickhead. And I'm like, hold on a minute,
What's the difference?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe she really likes, Lamb, Rogan, Josh or something. But, I mean, like yeah, like at the end of the day, I mean, lamb. Like basically, what she's saying is like, oh yeah, lambs are cute. But so are mice, really.
Yeah.
When you think about it, aren't mice kind of cute with their little squeaky noses?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, also kind of found it silly how Paul Rudd becomes an Ant-Man, and then immediately after he becomes an Ant-Man, he just faces like a billion different obstacles. Like someone runs a bath, okay, I'm fine with that. But then it's like he falls down immediately where he falls. Someone's running a vacuum cleaner, like they're right next to it, and it's like everything. Then he falls in a glass of water, and someone's about to slurp it up with their straw, and then he lands on a rat, and the rat's about to eat him, and then he just lands in a mousetrap.
No, that's a fun sequence, Michael.
It's a fun scene, but I just thought it was
unrealistic.
A bit unrealistic.
Yeah, this movie about Ant-Man thrives on its realism, doesn't it?
This one's a good one, Luke. You'll love this one. So he says he's surrounded by bullet ants, and he says, "Don't bite me." Now, as we know, Luke, it's actually the sting of a bullet ant that causes you pain.
So when you say, "I love it," you'll mean I'll hate it.
Yeah. And this last one. I don't know if this one's a nitpick. Basically, I think arguably this isn't a nitpick. I didn't like the fact that the film tried to be all romantic. I didn't like the fact that they were kissing at the end because I felt like it wasn't set up at all. I felt like that should probably be under characters now I think about it.
Yeah, I guess so.
So let's just pretend. So there's my 4 nitpicks, Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Now, let's talk about the plot, I guess.
Well, okay, so we're so unenthusiastic about this movie, obviously. Because it's just such a by the numbers, by the book movie. It would be really interesting to see what Edgar Wright had come up with, because there were so many times throughout this movie when I was just like, okay, yeah, of course, like this is just, I've seen this movie or this type of movie 1,000 times before, and it's really not that interesting. And I guess having them try to sneak into the facility of the bad guy is better than a massive battle at the end, although you do get that actually at the end. But it was just like, yeah, it's so formulaic, so normal. It's just, what did I say? The epitome of average? That sums it up very well.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, Luke? Since you mentioned it, I think we should just talk about the fact that Edgar Allan Poe was excluded from directing this film. So basically, the reason is because he wanted to make the film like more of its own thing. Like he wanted to make the film like a unique standalone film that people would enjoy even if they hadn't seen the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Marvel was like, no, you have to include references to the wider cinematic universe.
Yeah.
So basically, Edgar Wright wanted to make it like not a part of the Marvel, well, effectively not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just a spin-off of sorts that was, in your head canon it could be in the same universe, but within the narrative context it was just a film about a guy who becomes an ant.
Yeah.
And they didn't like that.
Yeah. So I'd say, I think for the first movie in a sequel or a trilogy, or whatever, or not a sequel, in a trilogy, what you have to do is, I think, just establish this character and play it safe, especially for a character like Ant-Man, which is like unknown. Nobody's heard of him. You just gotta make it 6 out of 10, which, I think obviously that's what they did. Ant-Man is not like the third Thor movie when you can just go totally crazy. It's like, okay, we've had 2 Thor movies. What are we going to do for the third one? Well, let's just go wild. Why not? We might as well. We've established this character. We can let the director have some fun. The fans will be wanting something different, so we can go in that direction. For this one, I can understand people's frustration and Edgar Wright's frustration with not being allowed to make this crazy movie or maybe not crazy, but this different movie that he perhaps wanted to make. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? Like, just play it safe for the first one. Just give him a nice, solid movie. Doesn't have to be anything different. And now he's firmly in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You're right.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know what you think about that. Maybe you think they should have taken more of a risk. They should have stuck with Edgar Allan Poe, but I don't know.
Well, there's a should and a should, isn't there? Really, there's at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it made its money back and they introduced the character, and maybe Ant-Man and the Wasp will be a good film. And now they've been able to, now they have the character of Ant-Man in there, and that's really what they wanted to achieve. And if somebody likes the character of Ant-Man, then they're going to pay to watch the Ant-Man beginning film, even though it's kind of boring. So in that sense, they should have done it. In the sense of like, do I ever want to see this film again? In that sense, they should have tried to make the film more interesting. It's almost hard to explain why this film is so uninteresting, because it's like the answer is just everything.
Yeah, the characters.
So the idea of like a protagonist who is a rogue, if you like, a bit of a rebel, and he's very irreverent towards authority, is, I mean, Captain America, the only example of a Marvel character who isn't that, I guess. Well, okay, that's it. No, obviously there are other characters who aren't like that, but like Star-Lord and Tony Stark, and I guess even like, well, maybe not so much Spider-Man, but all of them have kind of like an idea of they used to be behave very objectionably. Tony Stark used to sell weapons to terrorists, and
he didn't sell weapons to terrorists. That's what he was.
He didn't actually.
Yeah, don't besmirch.
Yeah, well, whatever. And Star-Lord was in prison for some reason, and the point is, Luke, that they like their down on their lucks protagonist who.
Well, doesn't everybody?
Well,
isn't that the whole point of a protagonist in like a fantasy movie, a superhero movie?
No, I guess, well, okay, so obviously, yeah, the down on their luck part isn't in itself the bad thing, although there are plenty of good examples of films where the protagonist isn't down on their luck, but it's kind of like the criminal with a heart of gold, but funny, and, I mean, his character is literally, like, especially with his wife has divorced him and he's got a kid and things like that, it's so much just like a by-the-numbers family sitcom.
Yes. And that's what I was thinking. It was like, really, so his ex-wife doesn't like him, and his daughter likes him, wants to see more of him. Okay, like, cliches there. And not only, obviously, he's divorced because he's a criminal, not only does his ex-wife's new husband not like him, his ex-wife's new husband is a cop.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, come on. Like, are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, actually, if we talk about all the first iterations of Marvel characters, obviously this is the first time Ant-Man has appeared in the Marvel Universe in his movie. Do you want to rank the opening movies for Marvel characters? So, like,
yes.
Thor and Captain America. Like, because I think this Ant-Man movie is, like, so similar to those two. Obviously, Iron Man stands above them, and Guardians of the Galaxy does as well, and Doctor Strange. But this...
I think the Incredible Hulk is the real winner.
Oh, no, yeah, the Incredible Hulk last. Like, it's barely in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes. Although, to be honest, I think I would prefer to watch the Incredible Hulk over Ant-Man. So, just because the Incredible Hulk is very bizarre because it's basically not a Marvel film.
No, Tony Stark showed us at the end.
So yeah, it's basically not a Marvel film, and in that sense, it's like, oh, I like it. I wouldn't say I dislike it. I would just say that it feels very out of place. Whereas, so yeah, I guess obviously Iron Man is the best one.
Mm-hmm.
Probably followed by Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, when you look at the other ones, like for example, I guess there's also Black Widow. So, not Black Widow. Black Panther. So, I guess...
Imagine thinking a woman could get a standalone movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, that would be absolutely ridiculous.
They've only just given one to a black guy. That was Black Panther, yeah.
Yes, I got you.
Well, at least we know the pecking order there, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I felt it's kind of been that way for a while, like, because, if there's one thing that black men can always be assured of, it's that they're superior to their women.
Yes.
And when poor white people can be assured that they're better than black people, and black people can be assured, or black men can be assured that they're better than black women, and black women can be assured that they are better than black sex workers.
Yeah, but
They're the real victims. So I'm actually, all that time I was basically just killing time so I could make sure that I look at every single. Okay, so here we got Iron Man. There's the best one. Incredible Hulk, down there. Thor, pretty much in the middle. Captain America. I actually think Captain America I disliked more than Thor. So if we're ranking them, then it would be so far Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and then the Hulk. And let's skip through all this Phase 1 garbage. Phase 2.
You got Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's it.
Phase 2. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. Probably similar to. Oh wait, Ant-Man's also here. So Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't really care, Luke. I mean, no, I do care about Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's very second to. And then Ant-Man. To be honest, I mean, I think I'd put Ant-Man just at the bottom so far, at least.
Really? Worse than the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, well, in terms of just like the quality of the film, and like my interest in the film, because
I only feel like you have interest in the Incredible Hulk because you haven't seen it in ages. That's probably why.
Yeah, I do think that is a serious possibility. Doctor Strange,
that's above average.
Yeah, above average. Then Spider-Man: Homecoming.
I know Spider-Man: Homecoming is better than Doctor Strange.
It's better than Doctor Strange. And then Black Panther. I haven't seen Black Panther still.
Racist.
Because I'm a racist. So I'll probably just see it when I see it, as they say.
Yeah, no, I watched. Obviously, I was interested in watching Black Panther, and I was interested in reviewing it as well, because obviously it deals, well, supposedly, with more issues than just two people fighting. However, I'm just so surprised so much of a conversation, like, on Twitter, like, sprang out of Black Panther. Like, if you watch that movie, I get why, like, there was a lot of people, talking about it. Like, oh, is it this movie is so important. I understand that, but I was expecting more. Anyway, we'll get into that when we do the Black Panther review.
Yes.
So I certainly think Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, all better than Ant-Man. Then it's just the Incredible Hulk, Thor, and Captain America. And I'd have to watch the first Avenger Captain America thing and Thor. I think it's just called Thor again. But I'm pretty sure Ant-Man is like exactly on the same level as them two films. And it's better than the Incredible Hulk. Because the Incredible Hulk's just stupid. I'm sorry, it is. And it's got Tim Roth who wants to become an abomination. And there's no motivation for him to do so. He just wants to look like Hulk.
Yeah, that's true.
Why does he want to do that, Mike?
Because he thinks that Hulk looks cool. Anyway,
looks cool.
Let's talk about the other films other things, characters. I don't know. What have you got to say about the plot, Luke? Anything else about the plot? I guess
it's.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I find I guess we should say that the idea is kind of interesting. Personally, I wanted to see. I like the idea that people were literally being killed by essentially being like squished. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been cooler if they were shrunk and then he squished them. Like they were on the floor, like, hey, and then he just squished them. Wouldn't that have been cool, Luke?
That would have been hilarious.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like I liked it because it was slightly horrific enough to be sort of interesting. It was like an Indiana Jones level death. Like you could show your 12-year-old son it, but you know that they'd be like, actually, I guess no, 12's too old. You could show your 8-year-old son it, but they'd probably be like, shoot up a school because you've disturbed them.
Well, none of them live in the UK because they can't get any access to guns.
Classic.
So yeah, despite the book's plot, I like here's the thing, like it's such a standard superhero movie, and then you watch like Hank Pym and his daughter just act like they're in the superhero movie. That is just by the numbers, whatever. And then Paul Rudd, he just says these lines now and again, like when Hank Pym's giving him a speech about how he should become the Ant-Man. Like Paul Rudd just goes, "Oh, that's a pretty good speech." And that's what kind of that's that little Marvel injection into these movies, into all of these movies. They're
self-aware.
Yeah, but it just takes it from a 5 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10. that little bit of
What a Marvel
little bit of
fanboy. I would have liked it if, as a DC fanboy, it would have taken it from a 5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 if Paul Rudd would have gone, but I have to do this to defeat the darkness. Do you bleed?
Yeah.
That would have made it much better.
That would have made it so much better.
But yeah, apart from that, I mean, I don't have anything.
Release the Snyder Cut of Ant-Man.
I don't think I have anything else to say about the plot, but we can talk about the characters.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I have 2 things to say about the characters. Number 1, villain. Number 2, romance. Which one do you want to talk about first, Luke?
Whatever you want to talk about.
I want to talk about the romance because I feel like that's less significant. Just that it felt really like bizarre and tacked on, and I didn't like get any sense of chemistry from the characters.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree. The thing is, obviously, Hope gets sympathy for Scott when she discovers that he has a daughter, but then there's a jump from, obviously initially she doesn't like him, but then obviously the jump from them, being sympathetic to then kissing him it just doesn't work. And again, it's because this movie has to be by the numbers, by the books.
Yeah,
has to have a romantic relationship between the two of the main characters, even though it really doesn't make that much sense at all.
Yeah, I also don't like the idea that when 2 people argue a lot and disagree, it's because they're secretly going to fall in love. Because really, when I think about it, if I was arguing with someone all the time, I probably wouldn't want to fall in love with them, really.
No, but you're arguing with them because it's flirting.
Yeah, because it's flirting.
That's the argument.
That's a trick on a date. You always say, like, hey, girl, I want to go help your dad recover some ancient technology, and he won't pick you because your mum died. And she'll go, kiss me, you sexy man.
You sexy ant.
You sexy ant man. Hey, hold on a minute. Do you think he can make his dick bigger?
I mean...
Well, actually, I guess it's just the suit. So, to be honest, I mean, like, he could probably just, wear a suit with a big penis.
You can tell Hank Pym's a nerd, because that's the first thing that, any non-nerd would have done if he discovered this technology. Can I make my dick bigger?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what a dweeb. He probably wanted to make his brain bigger.
He just wanted to save the world. Fucking
dweeb,
nerd.
Yeah. Anyway, and then last one, villain. So, basically... The villain is like, he's like the hero, except he's got a similar version of the suit, but it looks superficially like cooler, and it's evil. It's the evil version, just like Iron Man.
Are you going to say something after that or not?
Well, basically just that that it felt kind of like the most obvious thing you'd do. So you'd be like, oh, We've got this guy called Ant-Man, and his whole thing is that he's an Ant-Man because he wears a suit that makes him like an ant. What should our villain be? Well, what if our villain had another suit that made them like an ant, but then we pick something else instead of an ant, and then they had a big fight, and his motivation was that he wanted money or power or something because he was evil.
Yeah, that's the thing. That guy, Darren Cross, who's producing this suit, why does he have to be evil?
I don't know why he has to. Like, the fact that I kind of said it was cool, but he murders someone really unnecessarily. Like, he really didn't need to murder that guy. Basically, all the guy said was, I don't know. I mean, I think this could be a bad idea. And then he's just like, what? I'm going to murder you.
Like, I don't know, like, he didn't even say that technology was illegal and he's going to tell someone about it. He was just like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, like...
That seems a bit of an overreaction, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it seems like, I don't know, like, if he's killed, like, logically, if we're to assume he's consistent, then he's killed literally every single person who's ever gone like, oh, I don't know, this technology seems like it could be pretty immoral, pretty bad, I don't support you using this technology. So he's got, I mean, a lot of people disappear around him, I guess.
But there's some fucking reference actually that Hope says, oh, you've been around the protons too much or whatever. Oh, and it's making your brain go weird. Or whatever.
So it's like the Green Goblin.
Yeah, but I don't remember that being established before. Maybe Maybe they did. I just didn't remember.
No.
But when she said that, it was when he was pointing a gun at her dad.
Yes, I remember that line, and that confused me too. Because it was like they said that something where it was like he's been driven mad by his creation or something, or driven mad by the project he's been working on.
So should we have sympathy for him?
Yeah, but it's like like he's not. They don't set that up. I would like to see. I kind of like films where you see the villain's motivation in the film itself. Like, that's what I like about the old Spider-Man films, I mean, not necessarily even motivation, but you see the villain's origin story in the film, and it's like, okay, so this is where the villain comes from. I feel like in the Marvel films, the villain, it just kind of shows up, and they've always been evil.
That's what I think there's a strong correlation between the best villains and the best movies.
Yes.
Best superhero movies, even. So obviously, like, this villain was... It would be nice if they explored his motivation more, but, like, I guess people making Ant-Man... Like, is anyone really going to give a shit about Darren Cross? Are we really going to do... Well, I guess the villain in Black Panther is layered, but obviously this movie hadn't come out didn't come out after Black Panther, but I can imagine them saying, are we going to, make this villain like the Black Panther villain? Like, are we going to make his motivations like clear and simple, and maybe give some sympathy to him? They're like, no, he's just going to be evil, and we can throw in a line like, oh, his brain's turned evil. That's how or why he's acting like this. That's why he's a bad guy, even though he's just like a scientist, like Hank Pym was once. Now he's evil and selling his weapons to Hydra, which is another thing. Like, does he know that Hydra are bad? Like, I get maybe you want to kill people because you get annoyed at them, because obviously they're saying what you've invented is stupid or shouldn't be allowed. That's your own ego taking a hit, so you can maybe understand why you would murder someone. You'd have to be very insecure for that to happen, but still, you can understand it. Then there's the whole other level of evil, in which you're selling weapons, or this weapon, this yellow jacket, to Hydra, which is like, what? Like, Hydra, they're like Nazis. Like, and don't you have some reservations about that? Like, isn't that something that, needs to be explained? Because, again, he's just like a scientist who wants Hank Pym to appreciate how good he is and wants everybody to know, like, he's changed the world. Selling his stuff to Hydra, I don't think makes sense.
You're right, Luke, it doesn't make sense. Anyway.
Yeah, thank you. You're just going to move on.
Yeah. I feel like there's literally only one other thing to talk about. I wonder how long we've been talking for. Oh dear. This is...
We got the characters to talk
about. Okay, well, I mean, like... Okay, so you take the reins in terms of characters, Luke.
Okay, you really don't give a shit.
For some reason, I feel like talking about this film is just making me tired.
Yeah, I can tell. It's like you've taken like a sleeping pill or something.
That's actually how I feel.
Like, I just can't give a damn about Ant-Man. So I just want to say, I mentioned the characters because I did have a couple of things to say about, I think, all of them. Let's start with the main character, Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd. Who, I think Paul Rudd did well. I'm gonna give him credit. Like, he's just a likable guy, Paul Rudd, and that's what you need in this role.
Would you say that Paul Rudd is the least entertaining of the four people in Anchorman?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, at least it's not. I like his lines though.
What are his lines?
It's like the Black Panther perfume. Oh my god. Oh. That'll be great when he meets.
Oh, wait, is he the one? Who's the one who says 60% of the time it works? Okay, that's
60% of the time it works every time.
That's...
I don't think.
And then he's the one who says, "I met a girl. I was in love once. She was Asian or something. I can't remember exactly what her nationality was, but he tells a story about how he met a girl and they banged her and never saw each other again. Hilarious."
Brian Fantana, the roving reporter. See,
whammy.
I like his character better than the whammy character. So I think because I don't know, the whammy character kind of seems one-dimensional. Like, you can do more things with Brian Fantana.
That's true. Yeah, you can. Anyway, let's Paul Rudd.
Back to Scott Lang. He
I didn't know his name, by the way. if you were to ask me what the name of, I wouldn't have been able to guess either of his names.
Do you know what director Peyton Reed compared Lang to? Which character that we've reviewed some movies that he's been in lately?
Wait, so a character who's been in movies?
Yes, that we have reviewed recently.
Well, that must mean it's a character who's been in several movies.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of a character. Is it a character in the Marvel films?
No.
I can't think of that many films that we've reviewed. Something about Star Wars? Han Solo?
No.
Something about... I wasn't right about Han Solo. I wasn't right about Star Wars.
No. I mean, you were right. There is no Star Wars. No, it's not Star Wars, no.
Okay, I'm trying to think of...
It's a trilogy.
A trilogy. What have we done? The Daddy's Home trilogy.
No.
The Ocean's trilogy.
Yes.
Of course. Oh, yeah, because this is like a heist film.
Yeah.
So he's been compared to the classic Frank Ocean.
Yeah, Danny Ocean. Director Peyton Reed compared Lang to George Clooney's character Danny Ocean from Ocean's 11, saying, he's a guy trying to create a new life for himself and find redemption, which is not really that true because in Ocean's 11...
Danny Ocean is not trying to do any of that.
Yeah, he's trying to get back at the guy who stole his wife.
He literally leaves prison and starts planning a heist right away.
Yeah, like, it's not the same. It's just not the same.
I don't think he's seen Oceans.
No, obviously not. Like Scott Lang is forced to perform this heist. Danny Ocean wants to. There's a big difference between the two characters in terms of their motivation. So Rudd stated that in his preparation for the role, he basically didn't eat anything for about a year, which is interesting. I was just like, how are you here then? How you survived?
I mean, like, I don't understand. Did he think he had to shrink to the actual size of an ant? Was he weighing himself and then weighing an ant, being like, oh, looks like I've got to skip another meal? Because, I guess that's supposed to be because he wanted to look like buff.
Yeah.
My first question would be, okay, and I know like this is something that applies to a lot of things, but why would he even need to be buff? Because he's not playing a superhuman person with like superhuman strength. He's playing just like a kind of average career criminal.
He's meant to be like an everyday guy, with a bit of charm and a bit of intelligence.
But my second question is, like, I don't know what kind of personal trainer he has, but I don't think any personal trainer would ever... Like, I would say that dieting, eating less is not what you're supposed to do. I mean, like, was he really fat? Because he wasn't fat as Brian Fantana. I don't know, like, maybe...
6% of the time, every time.
That's the diet he took. So the diet is you don't eat anything. 60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah.
40% of the time you die.
It's the risk I'm willing to take. So then you got Hope, who that's Hank Pym's daughter.
Got you.
Yeah, like she's just female protagonist.
She reminds me of someone, and I feel like it's someone who the actress herself plays.
And it makes sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm trying to think of like it's like okay. This might sound weird, but is there a female secretary in any of the Ocean's films who looks at all like that?
Female secretary in the Ocean's films
to the villain? Because I might just be. I feel like I've seen a film, maybe not, but anyway, I feel like I've seen a film quite recently that had a brunette assistant.
The Hobbit.
Wow. Well,
she's Toriel. I don't know.
Toriel?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's that elf that falls in love with
That's the best
Hobbit.
character.
Yeah. Toriel.
Great. Oh, you know what? I mean, to be honest, we could do the terrible Hobbit films.
We could.
Nah, let's not.
But I don't want to kill myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I mean, if I'm tired after watching Ant-Man, imagine how tired I'll be after 5 hours of the Battle of Five Armies.
Oh my god.
The Battle of 5 hours.
Just if J.R. Tolkien could see that last movie, I think he would.
I think he wouldn't. He would destroy all of his manuscripts.
He'd burn everything.
I want you to burn this.
I'll give you £100 if you can name the name of Hope's mother and Hank's dead wife.
Okay, so I really want to say Rose.
Rose. They did
Rose.
mention the Titanic, didn't they? In the movie, they were referencing it.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Rose.
Patricia.
No, it was Janet.
Francesca. Janet.
Janet Van Dyne. There you go.
Janet Van Dyne.
Van Dyne. Oh, yeah. Janet Van Disappearing. Yours is better. So next, Darren Cross, Yellow Jacket. I think we've gone over him and his lack of motivation. A brilliant scientist who is not ethically pure. That's a...
Not ethically pure.
Sorry?
Not ethically pure. That's a stupid thing to say, because Paul Rudd isn't ethically pure. Just considering the fact that he was in prison. Okay, everyone's not ethically pure.
Yeah. He also says Thanos or Cross was more like Hank Pym than Thanos or Loki, who are villains that know it. But I don't think Thanos or Loki know they're villains. Like, definitely Thanos. His whole thing is, I'm doing what I must do.
Loki is a much better villain. In fact, Thanos is a much better. Both of them are much better villains.
Yeah, but I'm just saying his analogy is wrong. Like, Thanos doesn't think he's a villain.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. So basically, this guy doesn't know anything.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So next up we've got Bobby Cannavale as Paxton. Oh yeah, that's the stepdad. Who, I guess everything is made up in the end. Like he seems to really not like Scott, which I guess would kind of make sense, but I don't know. Like, I think, if he's trying to see his daughter, I'd be like, okay, like, you can do it. Like, I don't know. He seems like a bit of a prick, to be honest.
Well, I liked him because I thought, really what she needs in her life is a stable relationship with just a good old fashioned guy, a good old guy's guy who is some kind of Italian American and also a policeman.
Yeah.
Like we said, get out of here.
Like we said, it's the cliches are rampant in this movie. The villains, cliches.
Yeah. Well, I was really worried that she would break up with him and get with Paul Rudd, and I was like, that would just be the dumbest thing.
Yeah,
also,
didn't do that.
Sorry, I'm right in saying that Scott's ex-wife is played by the same woman who plays Claire's sister in Jurassic World.
Yeah, okay. She's from Arrested Development.
Ah.
She's her gag in Arrested Development is lifting up her shirt to show Jason Bateman her boobs. That's her gag.
What? Why?
Why? Because she had surgery done, so she's a bit of a crazy character.
Oh wait, so she's got surgery like big boob surgery.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have big boobs.
I know, but in the movie she does. In the TV show she's meant to. So
does she have is she wearing fake big boobs for the entire?
I can't remember.
Because I could definitely get behind. I got to get me a pair of those so I can put it on my
you don't actually
body pillow.
You don't actually see them when she lifts up her shirt. You don't actually see them. So
okay, but can you see them? Can you see under her shirt that she has noticeably big boobs?
I mean, you're not really noticing that before the gag happens.
So it just catches you off guard every time.
Yeah, that's the whole point. She does it randomly. It works in context.
Yeah, it sounds very weird.
It does.
Out of context. But do you remember the line by Earl Sweatshirt where he says, "Bars on, locks, my development's arrested, I'm the bestest, on a bad day I spit asbestos"?
I think so, yeah. I think I recall some things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, she does the actress, whoever she is, she also does a terrific cross-eye thing. She can make her eyes cross really well.
Oh, I'm quite good at making my eyes cross, actually. You can't see it now, but just know that, well, I'm not even going to bother trying, but imagine that I've shown you and you've had proof of the fact that I'm quite good at it.
It's Judy Greer. Judy Greer, that's her name. That's the actress.
Oh, like Jermaine Greer.
Yeah, just like Jermaine Greer. We've got to talk about Hank Pym, Michael.
Okay, yeah.
Michael Douglas.
What else is Michael Douglas in?
Basic Instinct.
I feel like it was in something that is quite well known, something that I would immediately think of when I think of him.
But Basic Instinct is well known. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, sorry, I know. But is Basic Instinct the one where? Okay, so I might be wrong about this. Is Basic Instinct the one where a woman shows her vagina?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sharon Stone. Yeah.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, I'm just
classic.
it is classic. She didn't want to do it, but she did it anyway, and she became famous because of it.
Yeah, she didn't want to. It's classic. I love when women don't want to do things involving their sexuality, but they do them anyway.
And they become successful at them.
Yeah, that's progress.
Yeah, it's progress.
That's empowering.
It's empowering. Yeah. He was in Wall Street as Gordon Gekko.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the guy who gives the speech.
Yeah, greed is good. Yeah.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, I think that movie did we should review that movie actually, because it did a lot of damage. I think in terms of how, so a lot of stockbrokers and bankers or whatever say they went into that field because of the movie Wall Street, and they were their inspiration, or that movie was their inspiration. And obviously the movie doesn't really come to that conclusion that stockbroking and greed is good is the right philosophy. So yeah, that could be something to look at.
Yeah, well also, I mean, a lot of people go into organised crime because of The Godfather.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd consider it.
Okay, so Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, former SHIELD agent, entomologist and physicist, who became the original Ant-Man in 1963 after discovering the subatomic particles that make the transformation possible. He later mentors Lang to take over the role. See, the thing is with Michael... I'll use the actual character's name, Hank Pym. The thing with Hank Pym is he's... I get he's like this scientist who discovers this shrinking particle. And I don't know why you'd then think, oh yeah, you know what I'm like an ant. And then... Because there's two bits of technology he develops. It's the Ant-Man suit, the ability to shrink, and then the ability to control ants.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're right. He does develop the two different things. It's kind of like it's a classic Peter Parker inventing the Spider-Man web shooter thing. But here's my question, Luke. It naturally creates a question. What would you call yourself if you had the magical ability to shrink?
Small guy.
That's the worst name. Small guy. That's the worst.
No, I don't think any superhero actually has the name Guy after whatever they are. Oh, have no fear. Small guy is here. Yeah.
A miniature individual.
Yeah. I guess Ant-Man, like, obviously there's a joke in the movie, like, oh, what an awful name, or what a ridiculous name, Ant-Man. But yeah, I guess, what would you call yourself then if you're a superhero and you're really small? Like, I mean, ants aren't the worst animal, but they're not uncool ants, you know.
I'd call myself the Amazing Shrinking Man.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like, it's got that old charm to it. Superheroes always used to be like the amazing. The amazing, incredible Superman.
Yeah.
I think I'd call myself Batman just to mess with people.
What? Why are you Batman? I thought it was a cool name. No, you're not. Hey, it's my suit. I can call myself what I like.
Oh, you know what? Actually, see, I think because my name is Michael. How about this? Okay, Microbe.
Microman.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's great.
The point I was trying to make is like obviously, I guess he decided maybe I'm going to call myself Ant-Man, and he's maybe like, you know what would be a cool addition to my superpowers if I could get ants to do what I like. So then, I think it really makes sense.
I think what happened is he needed to get some money to take Mary Jane out on a date, so he went to the wrestling match. But when he got to the wrestling match, the wrestling announcer asked for his name. And he said, "What's your name?" And the guy said, "The Human Ant." And the guy said, "That's a terrible name. Please welcome Ant-Man." Do you remember?
Yeah,
I remember that scene in the original Spider-Man one. Classic.
I don't think the Human Spider is that bad a name, to be honest.
The Human Spider. Yeah, you're right. But I feel like it would. I feel like it works badly as a wrestling name. So especially when you realise that ultimately, Spider-Man is not a superhero name; it's a wrestler's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great wrestler's name.
Yeah. So that's the deal with Hank Pym. One other thing about him, obviously, he is very invested in stopping Darren Cross. And, like, he's obviously, this is it for him. Like, he's probably prepared to die, give or take, to stop Darren Cross selling this technology and stop him from creating this Yellow Jacket stuff. All of that. He really wants to take down this facility. And then at the end of the movie, when it appears that they're going to have difficulty breaking into the facility, he immediately lets Scott bring his ragtag robbery or burglary crew along, and he just gives in. That's the thing. It comes as a comedy movie at the start, and then in the middle it gets kind of serious, and then at the end when they show up, it's like a comedy movie again, and it's like Hank Pym is really out of place in the whole last bit of the movie when it's about the comedy.
The film runs his own plan runs away from him,
and he seems fine with it.
He just gets hijacked. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, you're right. He seems very invested, and yet at the same time, he basically just picks a random guy because he's like, oh yeah, this guy would probably be good.
I wouldn't say it's random.
Yeah, it's not random, I guess, because he is a heist person. But yeah, he puts a lot of trust in in this Paul Rudd guy, and then obviously, like you say, he brings along his completely random friends, and he's like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Two days before the mission, I think it's around 2 days, they go from Hank Pym, being so serious about this mission, just giving it to these guys who obviously are petty criminals, who actually turn out to be quite good at their job. But does he know that? I don't think he does. I think if I was Hank Pym, I'd be I'm not having these guys do something that I believe is vitally important to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Also, I guess canonically now that means there have been that. So they've revealed parts about the Marvel Cinematic Universe history before, but have they ever revealed that superheroes existed before Iron Man?
Captain Marvel will be set in the 90s.
Oh, okay. But yeah, even then, I feel like they've just casually introduced the fact that there was a superhero in the 60s, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's okay, that's just the thing now.
He also says
superhero in the 60s.
He also says, Hank Pym, I don't want Stark to have this technology, when referencing why don't they call the Avengers. And I'm you know what, okay, I can understand that you may not like Tony Stark, but he's one of the good guys now, clearly, he's saved the world. And you know what? I won't take my chances with this. I just play it safe. I just get the Avengers to sort this thing out. You don't have to do it by yourself. It's okay. If you really think the world's at risk.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's a very contrived reason to. I mean, it's the problem with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They need to come up with increasingly dumber reasons to not have just the entire film be an Avengers film.
Yeah, so that's why Captain Marvel's set in the 90s, before the Avengers existed. Makes perfect sense. One last character to talk about. It's Michael Pena as Louis. Lang's former cellmate and a member of his crew.
Is that the Hispanic guy?
Yeah, the Hispanic guy.
I feel like he plays Sid the Sloth.
I don't think so.
I want some confirmation on this, Luke.
I believe Scott Campbell plays Sid the Sloth.
Who the hell is Scott Campbell?
I don't know. There's just this indie actor that I like. So I'm looking at Michael Pena's filmography, and I cannot see.
Oh, I don't trust you, Luke.
Ice Age. It's a no from Ice Age, Michael. I'm sorry.
I don't even begin to trust you.
He was in American Hustle.
What was he in? Okay, so who was the guy who was in Chef?
Fuck, I don't know.
Well, Luke, we've got to find these things out.
I think we're just being racist, Michael. Confusing.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I am objectively being racist because I'm just assuming that two people who are Hispanic. I'm going to find all this out while you can talk about this John Penis guy because...
Yeah.
Wait, is his name John? Too?
No, it's Michael.
Okay. Oh, Michael. There's lots of Michaels in this.
Yeah. Michael is a great name. It's not the best name, but it's a great name.
It's up there.
Yeah, no, I said it's up there.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't... John Leguizamo.
Yeah, that guy.
And he also, in fact, does indeed play Sid the Sloth.
You're just being racist, Michael.
Yeah, but I mean, they look pretty similar. John Leguizamo looks a lot like Michael Penis.
Okay, so I just want to say that Michael Pena's performance sounds so much like penis. Michael Pena's performance is...
It sounds like your cool penis.
Yeah, it's good. It's rather good. I enjoyed it, especially the sequences where he's recalling what his friend said, and then his friend's girlfriend. You got the music. happens at the big.
Yeah, I did
end.
like that. Was the best bit of the entire film.
Yeah, those were well, it happened twice. Those were the two best bits of the entire
Oh, yeah,
film.
right.
So yeah, I wish that could happen. Or if not that particular thing could happen some more, but that kind of thing would happen more. You get more fun sequences like that. And there were
I bet that was Edgar Wright's doing.
yeah, I bet Edgar Wright came up with that. There were a few more fun things, I think, like the Thompson Tank Engine thing, did Massive Ant. The sequence where Ant-Man first falls down, like through the building, sees the mouse.
Fall down.
the record.
I like when the Ant-Man fall down.
You know what, Michael? You're just not fun, are you? You're just not fun.
No.
See,
Yeah, I hate it.
it's just
I hate fun.
I just hate everything. So I think, like Michael Pena, good job, thumbs up for you. That was a good performance from you. I enjoyed it. Like when he turned up, it was just like because you had the seriousness of Hank Pym and like his relationship with his daughter. And it's like this isn't really that fun. And then he just turns up and like, hey, how you doing, everybody? Hey. Or actually, that sounds like.
Ay, Dios mío.
That sounds like the guy.
I come to this country to help you take over this business.
Yeah, I don't think he said that. I think that's rather racist.
He found me outside a hardware store.
Okay, well, let's take it back a notch, Michael.
Yeah, you're right. You remember that time when Steven Crowder hung out outside a hardware store and offered to work for lower wages than the illegal immigrants that were there?
No,
Because he's such a good guy.
that's good for him.
He just decided to outcompete, even though he's a millionaire who...
That just reminded me of the scene in Waterloo Road, the BBC show back in like 2010 that I used to watch. It was like about a school in Manchester.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I thought I remembered it.
And one of the teachers refused to confront the racism that one student said about about a Polish kid or a Polish person because she thought it was true. And I was like, yeah, they do. They do take less than minimum wage. They are, taking British jobs. It's great. I enjoyed it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be honest, you can't deny that they're taking British jobs. I mean, the alternative to them taking British jobs would be them not getting any jobs at all.
Yeah.
Which arguably, I feel like, I mean...
That is the fascinating balance between people who don't like immigrants or with people who don't like immigrants. On the one hand, they're taking everyone's jobs, but on the other hand, they're taking all the benefits.
Lazy bums,
Yeah. It's like, well, which one is it?
What they're doing is they're taking people's jobs, but they're not actually working. They're just stealing the jobs and hoarding them. They're job hoarders.
They're
They
hoarding
put them
the jobs.
in their basement or their attic.
Yeah, they just hoard the jobs. Yeah, that's good. I like that. So, overall, that's the characters. I'm not going to mention any more. I'm not going to mention T.I. Harris as Dave.
Was that? So I feel like, can you just clarify? Is that the actual rapper T.I.?
Tip.
Because there's a rapper called T.I.
Probably, yeah. He's an American rapper and actor.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Also, I like how the one Avenger they got is Falcon. It's just great. It's like, I mean, I guess they had to, and I shouldn't be mocking them for it because it makes sense. You have to get like one of the lesser Avengers. It's like look at that. The Avenger they happen to bump into is it's Falcon, not Iron Man or Captain
What a
America
shock.
or Thor. It's Falcon.
Everyone else is on vacation.
Everyone else is on vacation. Yeah. What a coincidence. So yeah, that's it. I just want to say, do you have anything else to say, by the way, on this movie? Okay.
Oh well, I felt like one final thing was the choreography, the action choreography. You kind of mentioned it when you said that the Thompson Tank Engine scene was fun.
Yeah.
This film, to its credit, did have some moments where it used the unique nature of the power itself to do interesting things in terms of action, and
yeah,
that's good.
Always appreciate that. Always appreciate when you've got this very unique, like, fun power, and you do weird stuff with it, like a giant hammer or a giant Thompson Tank Engine. It's like how we praise the Incredibles for the cool ways in which they use their powers. Yeah, which is nice. I like it. I think they should do that more particularly in DC movies. That's something they should do more. But I guess DC movies aren't really about fun, so maybe they can't do it.
Or being good.
Yeah. One more thing, Mike, before we go. I like the fact that this movie is set in San Francisco.
Because you're a queer.
I don't think we're going to go down that route, but yeah, because I'm a queer. No, because
Because you like a reliable public transport.
yeah,
Because you're a queer.
and I'm a fan of The Room,
Oh yeah, of course.
the other great movie that was set in San Francisco. Which would you rather
San
watch,
Fran.
Ant-Man or The Room?
The Room.
Yeah, The Room. Yeah,
Yeah,
it portrays San Francisco in a better light, I think.
that's true.
So
I mean, I can't believe that there are even such things as criminals in San Francisco.
no, yeah.
To be
Like,
honest.
how does the stepdad, whatever it's called, the police officer, afforded like a normal house in San Francisco? That's
Yeah.
That's the most unrealistic part of this
That's
movie.
the greatest
That's
superpower.
the greatest superpower. Oh god. So yeah, I think. Well, yeah. What was it? Yeah. So the fact that this movie is set in San Francisco, I like it because I like the fact that different superheroes are dotted around different parts of the country. I just like it. I hate how Marvel they all seem to be in New York.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like you could say Captain America's from Brooklyn and Spider-Man's from Queens, and that's different parts of New York. And fucking you got
Tony Stark's from the Bronx.
so he starts with the boss. Yeah, I know, but I like how Iron Man was in Los Angeles. That seems like a good
Yeah.
place for him to be. Although if Iron Man was set 10 years later, he might actually be in San Francisco, like in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I like how I think Venom's set in San Francisco as well, the new Venom movie with Tom Hardy. I believe that's the case.
Everyone loves San Francisco
Yeah,
now.
it's the new New York.
The new New
It's
York.
new New York. Yeah, so I just like, obviously a lot of superheroes are set in New York, because that's where Stan Lee, I guess, wanted them all to be. However, I do like different superheroes dotted around different parts of the country. It gives each movie a unique feel and each superhero, a unique sort of feel as well, I guess. I would like it if like a superhero came from like Seattle or like fucking New Orleans. That would be nice.
Yeah, I would like it if a superhero came from Seattle because it could be zombie Kurt Cobain. Or zombie Starbucks. There we go. Those are the two things that came out of Seattle. Starbucks and Nirvana.
Yeah.
And I could really go for a Starbucks when we've got to talk about this film, Luke, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Obviously, I prefer these characters to be set in real cities compared to DC, which has like fake cities, which are just across the bay from each other. If you remember
Yeah,
that,
that's
Batman's
true.
bit super.
Well, Midway City's in the middle. Is it called? I think it's called Midway
Yeah,
Island.
and the capital of the state's called Capital City.
Classic.
So yeah, that's all saying Ant-Man basically. Do you want to sum up?
Yeah, this film was really boring. It was kind of pointless, and I don't think I would recommend watching it again. I mean, the only good thing the film did was that Ant-Man isn't a wholly uninteresting villain in terms of his powers. He's a pretty uninteresting villain in terms of his character, though. He's, you'll see the exact same character in not only a lot of other superhero films, but also just a lot of other films. He's like a family sitcom dad. And if you want to see more of his power, then you'll see that in the other film, the Civil War. There we go. And then you'll probably see it in even more films. So basically, seeing as you'll see in other films, you don't need to watch this film at all, and therefore it will have the exact opposite effect to what Marvel wanted to have, because now you don't have to watch this film because you'll see him in other films. They wanted you to be like, oh, I've seen him in Captain America, I guess I'll go back and watch the Ant-Man solo film. But you don't need to do that. And as for my rating, I'm going to rate this one, I think this is quite a comfortable one, coincidentally, just below Ocean's 11,
Oh,
and just above another film that is about it. It's a family film about divorce and stepdads and things like that, which is of course the classic film Daddy's Home. I'm going to say it's just about above Daddy's Home.
okay. I'll say this about Ant-Man. Like, it's full of cliches, especially when it comes to the characters. It's a very standard superhero movie, which is kind of fun. In places it's kind of fun, particularly with Louise. But yeah, it's not very rewatchable at all, and I think it's only second to Thor in the Dark World when it comes to forgettable Marvel movies. Obviously, I think The Incredible Hulk is worse than Ant-Man. However, Ant-Man is just like more forgettable. It's just so standard, boring, whatever. And I think that's a shame because I do think it had some potential, and I have no doubts that if Edgar Wright was directing, it would have been better and it would have been more fun, and it would have been.
It could have been Baby Driver, but it would have been really baby.
Yeah, that was a great analogy, Michael. And I think I understand why Disney did what they did, or Marvel did what they did. Sorry, I understand why Marvel did what they did and just wanted to, do a by-the-book superhero movie just to introduce Ant-Man and get his storyline rolling in the cinematic universe, and it made $500 million, so they can be happy with that. I think this movie has so much. This movie had so much potential just because of the fun nature of Ant-Man, and I think hopefully Ant-Man and the Wasp will harness that potential. I see it's got 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I'm like, you know what, this could be a good, fun movie. It could be like the Thor Ragnarok of the Ant-Man trilogy. Like, they have a couple of boring movies, then you have a good, fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so many of the films during the second phase were just awful.
Yes.
Like, apart from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Every other one was just...
And why did they make Guardians of the Galaxy, like, just fun? Because they were probably like, you know what, this is going to be shit anyway. Or, like, no one's going to care about this anyway, and, they're not going to have, like, the Guardians, they could have just not had them in the eventual Avengers Infinity War. They didn't have to have them in. It was just probably a little like, side project. And it turned out to be really successful. So, yeah, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp will be good, judging by the score, and, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because I think this movie does have the potential to be good, has the potential to be fun. And in the second movie, hopefully they've captured some of the magic that I think they missed in this movie. But no, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight down the line, strand superhero movie, not going to watch it again. And hopefully the next one will be better.
I feel like I'm talking really slowly.
Yeah, well, you know what, Michael, I'm going to give both of us a 10 out of 10 for talking about Ant-Man for 1 hour and 20 minutes.
I know, it's crazy. Although, I felt like sometimes we kind of drifted from the topic somehow.
Yeah, I think that was inevitable.
Anyway, so, do we say bye yet? Let's say bye.
Let's say bye. What we got next? I think we got Die Hard next, Michael.
I think we've got Live Free or. Let's see. Yeah, we have got, that's gonna be fun. And then we've got something even more fun after that.
What?
Mamma Mia.
Oh, I've got a great story about Mamma Mia.
Yeah, well, I look forward to hearing it, Luke, next time when we review Die Hard.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for listening to this Ant-Man review, the three of you that did. We've been selecting and reflecting on Ant-Man because of Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is being released this Friday, or whenever this comes up. Probably will come up after it's released. But yeah, thank you for listening once again. I've been Luke, and who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
And join us next week for Die Hard. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.